good whatever time you're watching this particular video. Welcome. My name is Marion with Ndung'u. It is a pleasure to have you, and I am glad that you are here. We discussed myths about marriages, and I even wrote down 10 more myths that we did not get to discuss down at the description box of the last video. If you haven't watched it, kindly go watch it, or I'll leave a link even in this particular video so that you can watch the myths that we have about marriages. Today we dive into principles that will make your marriages work, part 1. But before we even get into the video, let me welcome each and every one of you. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. I love you and I appreciate you, and God bless you. If you're a very first time visitor, karibu sana. Please don't forget to hit the subscription bell. If you're returning subs, again, I love you and I appreciate you because you have chosen to be here with me and to walk this journey with me. So let's get straight into the video. So, we are talking about principles that will make your marriage work. Before we go to the principles that we will discuss this week, I want us to talk about repair attempts. Repair attempts, it's the same way like you go for driving school and you're taught how to stop a car. This is the first lesson you are taught. Why? Because when you are learning how to drive, and in case the car gets out of hand for you to handle, you can stop the car and escape a certain danger, or you can prevent an accident. It is the same thing. With a repair attempt, there's actions, words, maybe silly actions or comments that a person can make that will actually reduce or stop an argument. So if you are in a couple that is very confrontational, or you are having a confrontation with your spouse, you can use this repair attempt so that you can evade any more confrontation. So let's keep that at the back of our minds because we will use them. Okay, we will use that statement a lot in this particular vlog. Again, before we also talk about principles that will make your marriage work, we need to understand what is the real purpose of a marriage. Most people just get into marriage because they get along, because they have common interests. As we talked about, it is a myth. There is need for more than just that, and that is the purpose for your marriage. So couples that have a fondness and a deep sense of meaning actually make their marriages work better because they are in the marriage because of something more than just getting along and supporting each other. So you need to understand what is the purpose for your marriage. Why are you getting married? Because once you know that, then you will know the seriousness that a marriage entails and why you need to maintain your marriage and what you will need to make your marriage work. So on to our first principle. You should know each other's love maps and enhance them. So love maps is just being aware of what your spouse likes and does not like, plus almost everything about them. So basically it's just you taking time for you to know them. So that knowing them is what we are calling your love map. Because once you know the person, it is so easy for you even to relate with them and for you to become fond. Remember, when you know me, it is so easier for you to surprise me. When you know me, it is so easier for you to actually predict how I will behave in certain situations. And when it comes to conflict, it is also very easy for you to dictate or predict when a conflict is going to get dangerous. And this is where we use the repair attempts that we had talked about at the beginning of the video. And the repair attempts basically is just doing something goofy, or if you know me and you know that when you tickle me, I laugh, okay? And we're having a conversation and a confrontation and it's getting too confrontational, the conflict is getting too confrontational, you can change and just start to tickle me as a stopper. You know, it's like you're stopping the conflict and we are taking a break, okay? So basically that is what we call by repair attempts. So you see, when you know the person, it is so easier for you to apply the repair attempts, and it is good also for you to also have a romantic relationship, because of course you will know how to surprise this person. It is so easy for you to know. The knowledge of that person is very important. The second principle is nurture your fondness and admiration. Remember, when you are starting to date, there's a lot of admiration, there's a lot of fondness, but this is because you have not known each other as much. Okay, there are things that your spouse will do that will push you away and will turn you off, but you need to actually nurture your fondness and admiration. I need you to do more than just look at the negative things that your spouse is doing, because until you continue to nurture this admiration, you will get to a point this person starts to become a nagging, a thorn in your flesh, and you don't want to see them, and there they are, and maybe in the evening they're demanding for sex, and you're like, and the way you offended me. But when you are fond, and remember, this one is also part of just knowing each other. When you've already known your spouse, it is so easy for you to admire them, admire the positive. You might feel distracted at times by your partner's personality flaws, okay? But because you are fond of them, and that person you married to is worth the honor and the respect that they are due, then it is so easy for you to even forget the issues that you have. So when your marriage is in trouble, again, as I said, it is so easy. You have an easy, soft landing ground because you are fond of each other, and it's so easy because the positive feelings that you have towards your spouse overwhelm the negative ones. So the simple reason is that fondness and admirations are antidotes for contempt. To maintain a sense of respect for your spouse, you are less likely to act disgusted with them or her when you disagree on things. So the third one that I want us to talk about is stand towards each other instead of away. And this one is periodically what I call binds for partners. You just make sure that attention, affection, humor, or support, like everything that you need is in each other. Don't find, I know that there are people who say that I got married to my spouse, but I had a best friend that is the opposite sex. So when you have issues, you want to run to your opposite sex best friend to talk about things. So that is one way of breaking this principle, because the way I have been studying marriage and even looking at my own situation is that sometimes there are things that are just for the two of you, that the two of you need to come together and deal with, and when you involve a third party, it just breaks everything, and the other person feels disrespected. They feel that you didn't trust them enough for you to deal with the issues on your own, so you went to another person, and of course that will break your relationship, because the emotional connection will have been lost. Okay, again, women are emotional beings, so when you're taking your emotions to someone else, as much as you are not cheating, as much as you're not cheating on your spouse, just because emotionally you're going to talk and pour yourself to someone else, it means that you're not in an emotional relationship with your spouse, and that means you are cheating on your spouse. So again, you need to do that. So turning towards each other is the basis of emotional connection, because at least when you are talking to your partner about anything and everything, there will be emotional connection. The romance will be there will be passion, and a lot of good sex, my people, because you can talk about it. It is a free space for you to be naked. You know, they were naked and unashamed. So you're there, you don't like ABCD, you don't like the way one or two things have been done, so you want them to be done better, and it is so easier for you to open up and talk about them. So yes, so when you are running towards each other, it's like you're putting money in the bank. And of course, when there is issues in your marriage, it is so easy for you to withdraw. It's the same thing. When you want money, you go withdraw. So whatever you have been putting in, if you've been investing emotionally, you've been investing passionately, you've been investing in all these other to manners, it is so easy for you. When things are hard, you go into that same bank and you remove, because your partner will of course know you, and it is so easy for you guys to work through rough patches. Okay, so that is also a very good way of building a stable marriage, and it is a very good principle because you're turning towards each other. Okay, so when you honor and respect each other regardless of whatever happens, and you appreciate each other's point of view in terms of the marriage, it is so easy for you to turn towards each other. What makes turning towards each other a bit difficult is when you don't respect each other's point of view, when you don't honor that person and you don't respect them. Because when I come up with an issue, maybe, or with a solution for something, and you don't pick it, you think of it as shallow, or you don't like my way of doing things, and it's an occasional thing. Once in a while, of course, I can have ideas that are not ideally something that we would follow, but once in a while I want you to listen, I want you to try out my idea. So when I am not listened to, and everything I bring to the table is shunned, I feel disrespected, I feel dishonored, I feel like I am not appreciated. So of course that will cause me not to turn to you, and I will instead turn away from you. So again, those are some of the things that you need to work on so that your marriages can work. Number 4 is just let your partners influence you. And this is what sometimes people tend to principle number 4 is like what you say, that because of someone's good influence I stopped drinking. Because my husband has been such a good influence on me, I became a better cook. Maybe I didn't love cooking, but because I love him, and because I wanted to take care of our family and his children, I just took the initiative of learning. So that was an influence that happened because of your spouse and your love for each other. So this one shows that you respect that person, that you honor their opinions, of course, and their feelings. Because when you allow someone to influence you, it means that your marriage will thrive, because this person will see that you're putting an you're investing in making the marriage work. So men who allow their wives also to influence them have a happier marriage and are less likely to divorce than men who resist their wives' influence. And this is why as women, we have been told, and it's quote unquote told, that we have a sixth sense. There are things that women can see that men sometimes will take a longer time to see. So when your wife warns you about someone and you're doing business with them and you don't listen, at the end of the day, the loss is on you. And also, as much as it is you as the husband that will go on, that will experience the loss, if it is something that maybe it is your way of income, you will of course affect the entire family, including the wife and the children. So sometimes it's good just to listen. Not that I'm saying that you should allow your woman to dictate your every move, but sometimes it is good to allow the other person to influence you. As for the women, there are things that men see, especially when you're relating with the opposite sex. I have noticed that, for example, when my husband sees me talking to someone, but the person's intentions are not right, they'll come and point it out. And when they point it out, sometimes I feel like, so, but when you later on, it's when you come and you realize, by the way he was telling me, he told me this and it actually happened. So it's good for you to allow each other in that space of just listening to each other and allow each other to influence each other so that you guys can become better. Yeah, so that one is for you to work it out. Just know the kind of influence that your spouse is for you. One thing that I will mention here is that do not allow yourself to be influenced out of your principles, especially if they are principles that are good. Okay, don't allow someone to influence you negatively. So the influence that we're talking about is the positive influence that will help your marriage grow and become better. I know that we are learning, and I'm loving this conversation, and we are coming back next week with more principles on making our marriages work. Thank you for staying tuned. My name has been and will always be Marion Ndung'u. See you on the next vlog.